Alta Via 1 is the most famous multi-day hike in the Dolomites. We completed the hike in 7 days, and I'll show how you can plan your own version of it. There are 3 things that we really loved about this hike. First would be the food. I mean, you're hiking in Italy, so the food will be amazing even though you're hiking in the high mountains. Another thing we loved was simply the landscape, which was a mixture of this lush greenery with alpine meadows and then these rocky peaks around you. So the landscape was really beautiful. Lastly, you can visit a place that is fascinating yet haunting reminder of the World War I. So that one was really one of the highlights on this trail. So let's get into it. The hike is located in northern Italy in the Dolomites, as you can see over here. It's a point-to-point hike, so you can do it either way. However, it is more common to start from the north, so you start from the famous Lago di Braies. And like always, we did this hike in reverse, so we started from the south. And it was only because we wanted to avoid the crowds, so we didn't want to hike in a queue in a way. And I would say it is very rewarding when you finish at the Lago di Braies, because that is one of the most famous things in the Dolomites. So you kind of finish your long distance hike there, and then in the end of it, you can, jump into the lake, have a little swim. So I think that's a very, very nice finish for a hike. To show you the hike properly, I'm going to use a guide from takeahike.io, and I'll leave the link down in the description so you can also access this guide. And here you can see all the same information I'm going to show you. And also if you want to download the GPX files, they are here. It's all free, so go ahead and check it out. The total distance for this hike was 115 kilometers. The elevation gain was 8,200 and the elevation loss was 7,200. So you can see here, since we did the hike in reverse, so we started from the south, so you do need to gain 1,000 meters more of elevation. And how do you get there? Since we started the hike from the south, we had to go to Belluno first. And we flew to Venice, and from there we took a train to Belluno. It was a direct train and it was just 2 hours, so it was very convenient. But if you want to do the hike from the north, you can take a bus from Venice. So there is a bus connection with Cortina Express. You do need to make a few changes, but you can get a bus to the lake here. So both ways, it's pretty accessible. Then accommodations. The hike is connected by many mountain huts, as you can see here on the map. So these are all the mountain huts that you could use along the hike. However, they don't have any booking system that you could just book all the huts you want. So you kind of need to just contact each mountain hut separately to make a reservation. If you want to do camping, it's not so easy. So there is only one official campsite along the whole trail. So it's here kind of halfway through. And we wanted to combine both mountain huts and camping for this hike. However, when I started planning and booking the mountain huts, all of them were already full. I only managed to book 1 mountain hut for this trail. And then the rest of the nights we had to use our own tent. Let's talk about food. The food was one of the highlights for sure. Usually when you're doing a long distance hike, maybe the food is not a thing that you're excited about, but on this hike, you should be excited about the food. Now, since we had to do camping for most of the days, we did carry a lot of food with us. So we would carry all of our breakfasts and dinners with us. So we had this like free-dried dinners. And then for breakfasts, we usually made some oats. We would also carry some snacks with us that we would eat during the day. For example, we had these power bars and some candy. But most of the days we were trying to eat at the mountain huts, that we would pass through at least 1 or 2 mountain huts during the day. We were expecting to find a lot of pasta at these mountain huts. And that was true, yes. You could have these proper full plates of pasta in many of the mountain huts, and it was always delicious. But what I didn't expect was that they had so good desserts, all these different types of tarts and pies. And one important thing to know is that you won't find any supermarkets along this trail. So if you want to restock for camping food or some snacks, It won't be that easy. There is supposed to be a little mini market here on this campsite, however. We didn't check it out, but they say there is a little mini market there. So day 1, we spent one night in Belluno. And also here, if you need to restock with something, they have a supermarket. And if you are camping, you can buy the camping gas. However, we found only one sports store that would have it, and it was this one over here. The next day, early in the morning, we would take a bus from Belluno to La Pissa. That's the name of the bus stop. It's about 20 minutes from Belluno, and it basically just drops you off in the middle of the road. There's a little bus stop there, and then you need to find the trailhead. But it's very close to the bus stop. So the first day, it's quite easy. It's less than 12 kilometers. The elevation gain is like 1,500. But if you see on the graph, it's little by little. So this part here, it was very easy to climb. And then you pass through first mountain huts. Here we had a little break, had some cake and a coffee. And after these huts, the trail gets a bit steeper, but also you start to see like proper views of the valley. And then there would be the Rifugio Pian de Fontana, and that's where we spent the night. And then day 2, it's a bit longer, it's almost 20k, and the elevation gain is more or less the same, 1,500. And most of the climb is right here in the beginning. We like to climb when it's first thing in the morning, so you still have fresh legs. So it wasn't that bad. And then you can have a quick break here. There's mountain huts. So we stopped for lunch. They had proper fresh pasta. So the food was really good here. The whole stage was in a very exposed terrain. And for us, that was the challenge on this day, because the weather was super sunny. There were no clouds in the sky. And then, we did manage to finish at the Rifugio Carestiato. So this was the only mountain hut that we managed to book. And it's a very nice mountain hut. We wished we got there sooner, just to kind of enjoy all the surroundings and have a nice few drinks. But we got there just before dinner time. So then it was, okay, time to eat and have a shower and go to bed. So, because we were really exhausted on this day. So we didn't really have the time or the energy to properly enjoy the mountain hut environment. But it was a very beautiful day, and the mountain hut was super cool. And day 3 was 18 kilometers, and again, 1,400 meters of elevation gain. And on this stage, we went through one mountain hut over here, where we also had lunch. And then the highlight on this day, where you contour along the Monte Civetta. So this one is basically just a massive rock wall. So this one was a really cool part of it. And we went all the way to the Lago Coldai. And the day 4, it was about 18k and just 1,000 meters of elevation. So we did a little climb over the mountain pass. And then when you go down, you go through the Rifugio Coldai. And this one was a very good place to refill water bottles. Also, the location of this mountain hut was really beautiful. And then it's a long way down to this road where you could also find the campsite. And there are some ski stations around here. So you kind of hike through or hike down along the ski slopes. And then there is another hut that you will go through here. And when you climb over this mountain pass, the views are just amazing. This bit here was super beautiful. And day 5, this was also one of the highlights. So a lot of things happened on this day. It was about 18 kilometers and 1,400 of elevation gain. And on this day, you have a few options to make some alterations. So along here, there are 3 options that you can do. What we did is that we went on the right side of this little peak. So we wanted to check out the Cinque Torri, which is this beautiful, it's blocks of rocks, really interesting. So we kind of wanted to check those out. So we took the trail on this side of the mountain. Another option would be to go on the left side, and then you could connect to this mountain hut over here. And the third option would be to climb to the top. There is a mountain hut on top of this rock, and it looked really amazing. Like from the afar, you could see the mountain hut on top of the rock. So I can't even imagine the views from this mountain hut. The route on the southern side, it can be a bit tricky. There are some little ropes and chains that help you to climb because it's super rocky and steep. So you need to get handy with it. And we had our big backpacks with us, so we didn't think it would be so safe to go up here. And then here is a very interesting part. So there is mountain huts on top of the mountain pass, and also this mountain hut is the highest point during the whole trail. And to get to this mountain hut, you have two options. You can go through this Galleria Lagazuoi, which are these tunnels. And these tunnels, they were built during the World War I. So these tunnels are basically an open air museum, and it was amazing to see how they have preserved everything inside. So you would still see all these like trenches, like the sleeping dorms for the soldiers, and also these like offices for the generals. Basically, you need to climb a lot of stairs inside these tunnels. And it's very important to bring a headlamp because it gets really dark. And also some gloves because the hand railings, they are very cold. If you are afraid of, I don't know, small spaces, you don't need to go through these tunnels. There is another trail that just kind of climbs up the mountain on the side of it. So easily you could skip the tunnels if you don't want to. And then we had a quick break at the mountain huts up here. And then we would go down to a lake. The day 6, the first thing in the morning, there is a steep climb. And also this route here, it was used by the soldiers and it was built by the soldiers to bring supplies. So you could see like they had built these kind of like these stairs. And on the other side, it's just a very long way down. And it was just 12 kilometers long on that day and 400 meters of elevation. So this day was very easy. We stopped at this one, and this is the place where we got the pasta and the Aperol Spritz. So this one, we had a long break here. And then we went down and we camped at the lake over here. Day 7, the last day, it was 70 kilometers and 1,000 of elevation gain. And this day was really beautiful. You would see different types of terrain, and you have a lot of places where you could eat along the trail. So we stopped on all of these. So we stopped on this one. Here we had like a breakfast sandwich, which was super delicious. And then we also stopped by here on this hut. It wasn't the lunchtime yet. So here we just ate like cakes and ice cream. And this hut was beautiful. And then we also stopped at the Rifugio Via. Here we had like a lunch, like a proper plate, a lot of food. And then we would finish the whole hike here at the Lago di Braies, which is one of the most famous things to see in the whole Dolomites. It's a really beautiful lake. And we stopped here on this side and we just took a little swim. So it was very nice and rewarding to finish the whole hike on this lake. The best time to do this hike would be from mid-June to mid-September. However, in the early season, there might be still some snow patches along the high passes. But the trail, there's nothing technical about it. So it is pretty easy trail to do. If you want to do your first long distance hike, I think this is a very good option. That's basically everything you need to know about Alta Via 1. If you have any questions, let me know down in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe.